Trauma bonds don't feel toxic at first. They feel magnetic. You don't get trapped because you're weak. You get trapped because your nervous system mistakes chaos for chemistry and familiarity for safety. A trauma bond is the psychological trap that makes you crave the very person who's hurting you. It's the cycle of emotional highs and lows that rewires your brain to associate love with instability and connection with pain. They make you feel seen one moment, abandoned the next, and your mind clings to the version of them that only shows up just enough to keep you hooked. This is why you can't logic your way out. You're not dealing with logic. You're dealing with emotional conditioning. Your mind knows it's wrong. Your body still reaches for them. And your heart stays loyal to a future that will never exist. Trauma bonds don't form because the relationship is strong. They form because the wound underneath it never healed. Let's break open what a trauma bond really is, why you can't walk away, and how to finally break the cycle. A trauma bond isn't love. It's psychological conditioning. It's the cycle of pain, relief, pain. Relief that trains your nervous system to stay loyal to inconsistency. You don't fall in love with the person. You fall in love with the moments where the pain stops. Here's how the trap forms. They give you intensity in the beginning. Attention, affection, validation. Your brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals linked to attachment and reward. Then suddenly the warmth disappears. They pull back, go cold, or create conflict. Your nervous system panics because it felt connection, and now it feels threat. When they finally give you a little affection again, a text, a compliment, a calm moment, your body treats that small dose of relief like survival. This is intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological mechanism used in gambling addiction. Your brain becomes addicted to the unpredictable reward. This is why you justify mistreatment. This is why you feel pulled back in after distance. This is why the lows feel unbearable and the highs feel intoxicating. A trauma bond imprints at the emotional level, not the logical level. Your mind sees the damage, but your nervous system clings to the relief. And if you're trying to understand why you feel stuck, why the bond feels unbreakable, or why your emotions betray your logic, remember to download the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. It breaks down the deep emotional wiring behind trauma bonds, nervous system addiction, and why it feels impossible to leave. If you prefer reading while you listen, the ebook pairs perfectly. Download link is in my bio. A trauma bond forms because your system learned to associate unpredictability with love and survival with attachment. It's not romance, it's programming. Knowing you should leave doesn't break a trauma bond, because the bond isn't tied to logic. It's tied to the pain relief cycle your body became addicted to. You're not stuck because you want them. You're stuck because your nervous system learned to feel safe in the same pattern that's destroying you. Here's the truth nobody else tells you. 1. The lows make the highs feel sacred. When someone hurts you and then gives you affection, your body treats that affection like a life raft. If they were always kind, it wouldn't feel powerful. The contrast is what hooks you. 2. Mistreatment creates craving. The more they pull away, the more your system chases the version of them you miss. You're not attached to the real person. You're attached to the moments of relief they give you after creating pain. 3. Your abandonment wound gets weaponized. Your fear of losing them becomes stronger than your desire to be treated well. You stop protecting yourself because you're too busy trying not to be left. 4. Your identity erodes. You forget who you were before them. The relationship becomes the battlefield where your self-worth slowly dies, and your entire sense of self revolves around keeping the peace. 5. You confuse intensity with intimacy. Chaos feels like passion. Mixed signals feel like depth. The emotional roller coaster feels like chemistry because it hits the same neural pathways as addiction. 6. You bond through suffering, not love. The person who wounds you becomes the person who soothes you. Your system links them to survival, even though they are the source of the danger. This is why you can know they're bad for you and still feel pulled back, why you can see the red flags clearly and still answer their messages, why you can feel shattered but crave the very person who broke you. You're fighting your biology, not your mind. And the darker truth? A trauma bond becomes strongest right after the worst moments. The more they hurt you, the tighter the bond feels, because your system is desperately craving the relief that only they can give. That's the trap. You depend on the person who creates the pain to relieve the pain. When your logic says leave, your body screams stay. And the body wins every time until you rewire it. A trauma bond doesn't break when you get over them. It breaks when you retrain your nervous system to stop seeking safety in the person who harmed you. This isn't emotional healing. This is psychological rewiring. Here's the blueprint. 1. Remove the emotional supply. A trauma bond survives through contact. Texts, calls, apologies, arguments, checking their page, replaying memories. Every interaction reactivates the cycle. Silence is not punishment. It's detox. You can't heal in the same space that conditioned you. 2. Build internal safety. People stay trauma bonded because the relationship feels like home. Not because it's healthy, but because it's familiar. You have to create safety in yourself again through routine, structure, and stability. A regulated nervous system doesn't crave chaos. 3. Stop trusting your cravings. Craving them is not love. It's withdrawal. Missing them is not a sign to reconnect. It's your body adjusting to the loss of a stimulus it depended on. Treat cravings like symptoms, not instructions. 4. Rewrite the story. The bond stays alive through delusion. The hope they'll change. The fantasy of who they could be. The memory of their best moments. You must kill the fantasy to save yourself. You don't detach from the person. You detach from the illusion. 5. Rebuild your identity. A trauma bond erodes who you are until you only exist in relation to them. When you separate from them, you have to rebuild your habits, your self-respect, your standards, your core identity. You're not breaking a relationship. You're breaking a version of yourself that tolerated it. 6. Treat healing like discipline, not emotion. You won't feel ready. You won't feel strong. You won't feel confident. You break the bond through repetition. Not emotion, not waiting, not hoping, not feeling. Healing isn't a feeling. Healing is a process. 7. Allow the pain without running back. The pain you feel when you're away from them, that's the bond dissolving. Every wave you survive makes you freer. Every urge you resist starves the pattern. Every day without them rewires your system. When you stop running back for relief, the bond dies. This is how you break a trauma bond, not by being stronger than your feelings, but by becoming stronger than the cycle that created them. You don't escape through willpower. You escape through reconditioning. You escape when your identity becomes heavier than your addiction. You escape when your future matters more than your familiarity with pain. This is how you end it, not by running, but by rising. If you're breaking a trauma bond, understand this. You're not just letting go of a person. You're undoing the psychological programming that kept you stuck. And if you want to go deeper into the emotional mechanics behind trauma bonds, withdrawal, identity loss, and rebuilding yourself from the inside out, dive into the audiobook of Surviving the Toxic Bond. If you want to study the frameworks while you listen, the ebook sits right beside it. The download link is in my bio. If this message hit with clarity, sharpen the algorithm, like the video, drop a comment, subscribe, and share it so it reaches the people still trapped in the same cycle. Stand firm, stay sovereign, protect your peace.